On today's episode of Locked On Angels, how did we, the Super Halo Bros, do with our spring training hot takes? Did we hit on any, or did they blow up in our faces? Plus, we're going to get ready for opening day, and we're going to preview the weekend series against the Baltimore Orioles. Just trying to save time. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I think that's the first time I've said Baltimore Orioles on the show. That's awesome. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And if you'd like to get back to the Super Halo Bros for all the Super Halo content, here's some things that you can do. Leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and become a Locked On Everydayer. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave a comment. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with us and be a part of the conversation.
Happy opening day to you and yours and our Locked On Everydayers. It's the Locked On Angels, where you've got the Frisch Brothers, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
It's our third season here at Locked On Angels, and actually it's our second opening day because we weren't quite here yet on the first year. But yeah, it's our second opening day, third full season. Here you go. We're here 5 days a week talking Angels baseball, and we are so excited. You know, God willing, no rain in the forecast.
Yes.
Please. I don't want to delay, Mike. I don't want to have to wait till Monday to talk about today's game. So we're hoping that we can do a full recap of today's game on tomorrow's show. Yeah. Hoping, because again, that weather is looking a little dicey out there. However, before we get to that, on today's show, the Angels open up 2024 against the 101 win Orioles, Mike.
Woo!
They're going to be in Baltimore. And we're previewing the matchups and discussing what the Angels need to do in order to walk away with a Series W to start the season. But first, you and I gave some hot takes, some spring training hot takes before spring training even started. And we said, you know what? We're either going to look really smart or they're going to blow up in our faces, just like you said earlier. And now that spring training is officially over, it's opening day. Let's revisit those and see which ones were hits and which ones we whiffed on, Mike. Let's go.
Yeah, we had 6 hot takes. Here's the first, Johnny. Our first hot take was that Miguel Sano makes the Angels Major League Club. Johnny, we were right. How about that?
Right. Come on.
And there's a few reasons why we believe he made it. And he made it because, one, the dude's got a lot of power. And he proved it in the game that he was announced. He made the roster. Then he hits a shot against the Dodgers, right? And we talked a lot about this, and there were a lot of articles about Sano. He really worked on the mechanics of his swing, staying back on the ball and using that back leg while he's swinging. And so it looks like he's figured some things out. He's got better pitch recognition. He's improved his contact, and he's demonstrated a lot of this during spring training. Plus, Johnny, he plays the corner infield positions and plays them well. Can be a backup at third, can be a backup at first. He can also DH. He can replace Shawnuel or Rendon. I love that he made this team, and I went and baseball referenced him yesterday just to look at his stats, and he's just a couple of years removed from a 30 and 70 plus RBI season with a 223 batting average, which is on the low side, but that's not why you have him on your team. You have him on your team because he's got the power, and he's dropped a whole lot of weight. As Wayne Randazzo said, he literally lost his butt. Like he
worked his butt off. Yeah.
Worked his butt off. And so it's great having him on the team. And so we were right about that hot take. Miguel Sano made the major league roster out of spring training.
Got to start with a hot take that we were right about. I love that. How about hot take number 2, Mike? Evan White is this spring's Mickey Moniak. Before spring training, we said, remember how Mickey Moniak had a great spring last year, and the issue was that he was making a case for himself, but the Angels signed Brett Phillips to a major league deal, so that caused all kinds of roadblocks for Mickey Moniak. There was a ton of discussion coming out of spring last year that Moniak should have started with the team because he had such a great spring training. Although it ended up being Brett Phillips, Moniak did arrive, May? I think he got up there.
It was May.
Started tearing it up.
Yeah.
So we thought before spring, Evan White would cause the same conversation to be had around him. Not that he would make the team, but people would be like, yeah, shouldn't Evan White be on this team?
Yeah.
So how'd we do, Mike? We missed.
A whiff with the whiff.
Thanks for the breeze. Evan White had soreness in his surgically repaired hip, and so he resumed baseball activities like a month ago. However, he didn't play at all this spring, which is disappointing, but doesn't mean he's not waiting in the wings in AAA, wherever they decide to put him. But we missed on that one for sure.
Hot take number 3 was Rendon will not make an error at third base this spring. So before spring training, we had talked a lot about how we were interested to see how Ron Washington and Ryan Goings would influence Rendon's defense. Will Wash help iron out some of those issues that Rendon had throwing? We thought so, even though he was still doing that stupid sidearm thing.
Right.
Like maybe they'll figure out how to get it over there, even sidearm. And it's not necessarily like he's not a bad third baseman, but we do want to see him play a bit more maybe wise with his throws and be a bit more efficient over there. And it seems like Wash and Ryan Goings did a good job of helping him to take his time, get upright, get under his feet or get his feet under him to be able to throw over to first base. So Johnny, did we get this right? We got it right.
We got it right. And I held my breath every time the ball was hit to Anthony Rendon. Look, I know he took a week off from his soreness that he had, but still, even if there was one game where he had an error, that would have been a big risk. So Mike, I think that's the biggest hot take of spring from us is Rendon not making an error. And that's not to say he won't make an error this season, but it does seem, even with the sidearm funky delivery, it does seem that he is doing all of the fundamental things to, like you said, get his feet under him, point at the bag, all that stuff. Seems like they did well to help him out there. Mike, how about hot take number 4? Matt Thaiss will lead the team this spring in average and slugging. Before spring training, we said that Thaiss has great pitch selection and he sees the ball well. When he makes contact, it's a powerful swing. He actually does hit it hard. But his big loopy A-button swing that we've started referring to it as, because it's the same swing every dang time when he swings the bat. So we thought Johnny Washington might help him make a mechanical change. And so did we get that right? No, we did not get that right, Mike.
I've missed it big time.
His average this spring was 214 and his slugging was 286.
Thanks a lot, Thaiss. We look like idiots.
Now I look like an idiot. He did walk 7 times, the same amount as Trout, so he does still have good pitch selection. However, he did not have the spring that we thought that Thaiss would, unfortunately.
Right, and that takes us to hot take number 5. Davis Daniel will open Angel fans' eyes. Obviously, we're a fan of Davis Daniel. He's been on the show, and we like to call him a friend of the pod. Before spring, we said, first, we predict that we'll see a handful of starts from Davis Daniel, whether it's with the regular club or it's a split squad game. The reason is that the Angels want to get a good look at him to assess what they have. In our conversations with Davis, we came to understand that he already has the mentality that Barry Enright is hoping for and wanting to bring to the Angels. And so did we get this right? No, we didn't get this right at all. Yeah. Davis had only 2 games that he pitched in the spring and had only 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 2 Ks. Johnny.
And they were as a reliever. He didn't even get to start a game. Like we said, he was going to start, split squad, maybe, didn't even do that. So,
right.
Yeah, it's a shame because it feels like with Wance and Soriano getting stretched out. I know Soriano's kind of at this time of recording, sounds like he might be in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Sounds like they might not be. I don't know. It sounds like they're going to try to do both, stretch him out and put him in the pen. I don't know. It seems weird, but it seems like Davis is now lower on the depth chart because they're doing that with Wance and Soriano. Mike, hot take number 6. The Angels will sign Blake Snell. Before spring, we said, doesn't it just make so much sense that the one time in 13 years, the Angels and Artie Moreno decide to splurge on a free agent starter and pay the money it's going to be for a Scott Boras client who's going to command a bunch of money coming off a career year. We said that, tongue in cheek, but the truth is Blake Snell, he'd make this team better. He'd make this rotation better. And he could make the team more than a wild card opportunity or at least a wild card opportunity. Well, were we right about that? No. No, not at all. Despite the Angels being named as a suitor all offseason, despite Snell being rumored to say he'd like to play for the Angels, Blake Snell signed with the Giants. And that's fine. But what's not okay is that the Angels didn't really get anybody to help out this rotation. And so it didn't have to be Snell, but they're going to be relying on a lot of the rotation pieces that they have, which has a lot of question marks around them. Look, I'm fine. I want to see these guys do well, and this is the team that we have, so I'm going to support the rotation that we have and hopefully identify some things that they can do correctly. But again, reviewing our hot takes checklist, Mike, we got 2 out of 6.
Yeah, that's a 333 batting average, John. That's Hall of Fame numbers right there.
Those are Hall of Fame numbers. Mike, would you say that it's a bronze take?
Hey,
that we got the bronze medal here?
We are consistent, right? That we're consistently average. I appreciate that so much.
If we're anything, we are consistent. So yeah, hot take, Miguel Sano makes the club. Rendon will not make an error. I feel like Rendon not making an error is worth like 2 takes, Mike. I think we should get 2 points.
You want to give an extra one? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen every single day. Coming up, let's talk about opening day. We're going to share how the Halos can have some success this weekend, and how do they beat Corbin Burnes? How do we beat Burnes, Mike? We're going to get into all of that coming right up.
Locked On Angels is brought to you by GameTime. GameTime is now the authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier for you. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. Good news, because first pitch is coming for the Angels soon. With incredible last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. They're obsessed, I tell you, John. They're obsessed with saving you money on tickets. With the GameTime guarantee, you get last-minute deals on tickets and save up to 60% off, not just sports, but concerts and comedy and theater and a whole lot more. You can save even more with exclusive in-app flash deals on select seats ahead of the game or whatever event you're going to. Save even more on zone deals. When you choose a section, you let GameTime choose the seats. And then GameTime has all-in pricing, and I love this feature. It shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You can get a panoramic view of your seat so you know what the view is going to be and if there's anything in your way, which is interesting that there are some stadiums where there's pillars like right in the way. That's stupid. John's showing that on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube with his cup. Love that. And what I love about GameTime is they have the lowest price guarantee. They're going to credit you 110% of the difference if you find cheaper tickets in the same row, same section. Plus, with every purchase, you receive the GameTime ticket coverage. Your purchase is coverage with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Attaboy, GameTime. Way to go. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. And for a limited time, our users, our Locked On Angel fans, they can get $20 off any MLB purchase of $150 or more in the GameTime app when you use the promo code FIRSTPITCH. That's First Pitch for $20 off from right now until April 14th. So write that down. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I know you're going to be tuned in to baseball all day long, but if you happen to catch yourself watching Fox Sports or ESPN, you got to turn the volume down because they're shouting over each other. It's just a bunch of talking heads, talking nonsense. But you're not going to get that with Locked On Sports Today. In fact, Locked On Sports Today is a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every single day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. So Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news. It's streaming 24/7 on YouTube and the free Amazon Fire TV Channels app. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's talk opening day. Good news. We're not starting in Oakland. So we're not going to have to hear the oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's terrible, right? Bad news. We're opening up in Baltimore.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Orioles, just trying to save time, are playing the Angels, and we have Corbin Burnes. How do you do, Mr. Burnes?
Corbin Burnes
on the mound. And so how can the Angels beat Corbin Burnes? Johnny, do you have any wisdom here? Do you have any help for this team? What can they do based upon statistics on how to beat, or at least try to beat, Corbin Burnes?
Well, I'm a good brother, Mike, so I put notes together for myself and for you. So
Yay.
We both sound smart here. First, the Angels need to go right-handed heavy, Mike. Despite being a right-handed pitcher, Burnes has dominated lefties. Over the course of his career, they've hit 210. Lefties have hit 210 off of Corbin Burnes and have a 610 OPS. But lefties last year, 170 average against and a 515 OPS against Burnes. So does this mean maybe no Hicks as a switch hitter who bats left? Maybe no Rengifo as a switch hitter who'd be batting left against the righty? Maybe no Moniak, no Shawnuel. Does Adele get the nod, or does Hicks get the start based on experience? Well, here's a few things to consider. Burnes walks more lefties than righties. In fact, last year, he walked 10% of the lefties that he faced, and he walked 6.5 of the righties he faced. So, in my opinion, Mike, the guys like Hicks and Shawnuel, they can still be in the lineup as long as they are patient, because Corbin Burnes will put them on base. Even though they're lefties and he dominates lefties, he still will have a tendency to give up those walks. Those guys just have to be patient, Mike.
Yeah. Second thing, to beat Corbin Burnes, if you see me walking by with the tears in my eyes, look away, baby, look away.
Look away, I'm hideous.
The Angels have to look away. Corbin Burnes relies on his cutter that sits at about 94 to 95 miles an hour. He threw it 55.4% of the time last year. So last year, it induced a 209 batting average, but the expected batting average was 245. But if he runs it away from righties, those righties tend to pull it, they tend to roll it over, and it's a ground out. So if the Angels are going to have success against Corbin Burnes and the cutter, they have to go with the pitch instead of trying to pull everything. And then for the slider, he throws it away and down out of the zone, and he fools a lot of people with the slider. Hitters whiffed on it 43.3% of the time last year, Johnny. So just when you think you're looking good and you think you have the pitch figured out, you're swinging over it. He's throwing the slider, and then he's got a changeup, and he throws the changeup and a sinker and a curve, and he throws it all down, right? So if the Angels look away, baby, look away, they might have an opportunity to get some hits and not ground out. But the reality is Corbin Burnes is just really good. he's just just that dang good, in the words of Triple H. Mike, once you think you have, like you said, once you think you figured out the cutter and everything, then he throws that changeup in and down. He throws the sinker down and in. And so he's just really deceptive. That's really what we have to give up to Corbin Burnes, is that he's just a really good pitcher, and it's going to be a really tough why
task.
We wanted him.
I know. Well, free agent next year.
Yep.
He's from the area, so hopefully we have some sort of advantage there, but we'll see about that. So, Mike, how do the Angels beat Corbin Burnes on opening day? Couple things. They got to take walks.
Yeah.
They got to go oppo. Now, look, Trout certainly can go oppo.
Yep.
We saw Rendon do that against the Dodgers at Angel Stadium the other night. It was a fly out, but the ball he's hitting it hard.
It's carrying really
in the
far.
last couple of games. Yeah.
Yep.
So it looks like he's getting some of his power back. They got to work long at bats. They have to see some pitches. They got to foul things off. And then, Mike, we talked about this week. The Angels have to nickel and dime.
Can we copyright that? Because I think that's brilliant.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. They have to nickel and dime. They got to take the ground out that moves the runner up. They have to hit the sacrifice fly. If it's a bases loaded, no outs, and they ground into a double play, but the runner at third comes home to score, that's a win.
Yes.
Especially against Corbin Burnes, because 1 to 2 runs off of Corbin Burnes would be a huge success. In fact, last year, Mike, when the Angels faced Corbin Burnes when he was with the Brewers, Mike Trout got all 5 runs in the game against the Brewers. They still lost 7-5, of course. But Mike Trout had 5 RBIs, and one of those RBIs was a sac fly against Corbin Burnes. So it is possible. It is possible to get to him. But again, take walks, go oppo, work long at bats. Those are our keys to beating Burnes on opening day.
Today's episode of Locked On Angels is brought to you by Prize Picks. They're the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America, and they're the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks and real people. Pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. And of course, it's basketball season. We've got the tournament happening on both the men's and the women's side. I really enjoyed watching Caitlin Clark in Iowa. She is just so good, Johnny, and my daughter's a basketball player, so we were really hyped in this home. And also, the NBA playoffs are starting to get closer and closer and closer. It's always interesting to see where the Lakers are at, right? Because the Lakers are really great, but they just seem to play not so great until around right now and when the playoffs hit. So I guess that's the perfect time to get ready. And it's the perfect time for you to get on all the excitement with Prize Picks. You can turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. I mentioned this before in the show. Want to remind you of it. They have a feature called the Demons and Goblins feature on the app. So demon picks are marked in red, and they're the scary picks because they make your heartbeat accelerate a little bit because you have a chance to win some big money, including 100 times your money. So if you bet $10, that's carry the 2. That's $1,000 for you. But if you're more cautious like I am, you can choose a goblin pick, and they're marked in green because they are designed to keep you in the green and allow you to land consistent victories, bronze victories, like the Locked On Angels host, right? The payout is less on a demon pick, but you get a chance of keeping your winning streak going. So download the app right now, enter our promo code Locked On MLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. Again, the promo code is Locked On MLB, all one word, all lowercase. Join Prize Picks today. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
All right. Today's the day. It's opening day. Hopefully, we don't get a rain delay and have to wait till Friday. That would be upsetting.
Yeah.
But Mike, how do the Angels need to perform this weekend? To win the weekend, the Angels must do a couple of things. So we've put some thoughts together here. First up, I think it's important that the Angels pitching needs to do the fundamental stuff that they've been doing all throughout spring training.
Yeah.
You got to throw strikes, get first pitch strikes, which is really important. Chase Silseth did that really well, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
You got to race to strike 2, and you can't walk anybody.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest takeaway from spring is the reduction in the number of walks. Because if you give these Orioles free passes, and we'll talk about this in a second, they're going to run all over you.
Yep.
So I think that's important for the Angels to stick to the fundamental stuff that the pitching has been working on all spring training. Mike, what if we break down how to get the best Orioles players out? Why don't you start with Adley Rutschman?
Yeah, Rutschman rarely chases and he rarely whiffs. He's in the 81st percentile in the league in chase percentage, the 94th percentile in the league in whiff percentage. But Johnny, where does he swing and miss and strike out the most? Under the zone. Inside and outside. You bring in your changeups.
Inside and outside.
We're gonna have a song connected to everything on this episode. So bring your changeups, bring your sliders, bring your curveballs. Patrick Sandoval, are you listening? Reed Detmers,
Right.
Are you listening? Don't be afraid of contact either. Rutschman rates low in average exit velo, barreling percentage, and hard hit percentage. His batting average on balls in play, John's favorite, BABIP, across the top of the zone, it's 240 inside, 188 at the middle top, and 278 away. So he's good at turning on pitches. So just be very, very careful. But where you can get him out is that middle top of the zone, and where it might be uncomfortable to throw there.
Right.
But reality is it might be the best spot for you to throw whatever pitch you're throwing in the sequence.
You know, what's funny about Gunnar Henderson, Mike, is he's kind of the opposite of Adley Rutschman. He ranks low in whiff percentage because he strikes out a lot, but he's got a ton of power. And so if you make a mistake to Gunnar Henderson, he's certainly going to take you for a ride and get a home run off of you. So where should the Angels attack Gunnar Henderson? Again, the top of the zone seems to be a weak spot for those two guys on the Orioles, but around the corners of the zone, outside of it, as well are his weak spots, because he'll go chasing after those pitches around the corner of the zone. Where they have to avoid, this seems like a no-brainer, right down the middle. Now, he does have a low batting average on balls in play down the middle, but despite it being low, he's done a ton of damage there. So when he does make good contact down the middle, that's when he's able to barrel something up. He's able to hit a home run, stay away down the middle, even though the BABIP might say, yeah, you could get away with one there. Really, you're risking it if you're going to pitch somewhere down the middle or below it to Gunnar Henderson. So again, attack the corners of the zone, because that's where he really struggles.
Johnny, let's talk about holding the run game, because that was something that the Angels struggled with last year, and we've seen them do better, especially Matt Thaiss throwing runners out during spring. He didn't hit well, but he did play some good defense, and Logan O'Hoppe is improving as well. So Gunnar Henderson was the top in the league in terms of creating runs with his running game.
Yeah,
last season.
7 runs above average, Mike.
I
forgot to put that on there, but yes, 7 runs above average.
That's fantastic. 47% success rate on opportunities to advance on the bases. Jorge Mateo created 2 runs above average in his running game, 41% successful in his opportunities to advance. So not only do pitchers need to be wary of the Orioles run game,
them too.
But the infield and outfield also needs to play really good heads up defense, because these guys will take that extra bag. Mm-hmm. And as we know, there's been, especially last 2 years, there's been a lot of right. There's been a lot of messiness on the defense, and we don't want John to have to create those reels and post them on Instagram. We want great defensive plays. And so
did I make one of those last year, or was that 2 years ago?
I think it might have been last year. I mean, I don't know. It's all a blur. I've slept since then, but it was fantastic. I honestly think that the best defense for the outfield, Johnny, is Taylor Ward style defense. Like, don't be risky. Let the ball drop in front of you. Play average defense, right? And make the outs that you need. It's the boring fundamental baseball that will help the Angels to be in this weekend series. And Johnny, if they could take 2 of 3 to start the year against the Baltimore Orioles, that would be pretty fantastic, right?
Baltimore Orioles? Are you just trying to save time?
Uh-huh.
So, Mike, you said play Taylor Ward style defense in the sense that you want them to make the plays they should.
Yes.
Don't go taking extra risks, right?
Sure.
Okay,
sure.
Good.
Well,
I'm glad you said that, because that one dude who calls us on our voicemail line and cusses at us for some reason, I've already blocked his number like 3 times. He's not a big Taylor Ward fan, so I'm sure he'll give us a call. And yeah, those people exist. So we're
airing the dirty laundry, aren't we?
Yeah. I have a show. You're just a guy with a phone. Anyway, Mike, what do you want to see out of the Angels this weekend for you to feel like, even if it was like they took 1 game out of 3, what would you like to see from them this week?
Well, I want to see 2 out of 3, honestly. And I think that 2 out of 3 happens when they do what they've done in spring. They're walking a lot, taking a lot of pitches, and as pitchers, they're not walking a lot, and they're not throwing a lot of pitches. Mm-hmm. I think that those 2 things need to be reversed for the Angels. Their hitters need to put the pressure on the Baltimore Orioles pitchers, and Mike Trout needs to be somebody who isn't just taking walks. I want to see Trout knock in some runs. I want to see sacrifice flies. I want to see singles in good moments, right? And I know that Corbin Burnes is really good against lefties. I don't think you don't have Nolan Shawnuel in on opening day, simply because I think Shawnuel is such an elite hitter. And I know I just said elite, but he's such an elite hitter.
Great. We're going to get cussed at again.
I know. I just think that you want his bat in that lineup. Mickey Moniak would be different. Yeah. I think Shawnuel is unique. I'll use the word unique.
I agree.
So I want more walks and more pitches for our hitters, and less walks and less pitches for our pitchers.
I want to see them stay calm. I don't want to see things get out of hand. An extreme example, Rendon, don't put your hands on any fans on opening day this year.
Somebody escort him in.
Yes. Escort him out. But less than that, Mike, I don't want to see Sandoval get upset. I want to see these guys perform. I don't want to see the game get out of hand. I don't want to see these guys get frustrated, even if they're down in the game, because they have all looked very calm, cool, and collected. And I know it's spring training, but you got to walk in with some confidence. And I don't know if you saw that hype video the Angels posted with all the guys talking about this season and the team, but man, these guys have a lot of confidence. And the truth is, there's no jerks or idiots on this team. Like, these are all good guys that I like to watch, and I want success for them, and I want nothing for the best for them. Not just because they're my team, but because there's really good dudes on this team. And I think if they work together and they keep their calm, cool, and collectedness coming in against this really tough Orioles team, I think that they'll have a lot of success this weekend.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Remember, Everydayers Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV Channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. And you can find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV Channels app.
Hey, give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Whether you're watching or listening to today's show, come on over to the show on YouTube, find the episode, get in the comment section. It's the best way you can get in touch with us and be part of the conversation. Mike, what do we have on deck for Friday's show?
Our plan is to recap opening day against the Orioles, and looking at the weather, it says right around game time, it's not going to be raining. It's like 70% before, and then like 20 to 15% during the game. So
got a chance.
Hopefully they get it in. And if they do, we're going to recap that for you tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
Either way, we'll still be here. We'll just, we'll pivot. We'll have a Locked On Angels rain delay, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that. Best of luck to our Halos. We hope that you guys tune in to watch the game this afternoon, weather permitting, and we'll be back here tomorrow. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you back here on Friday.
Woohoo! Friday.
Block that guy's number twice and still somehow gets through.
Block him.
Ridiculous. Go away.